Today we will be looking at 3.7b, and this is a continuation of factoring by division, and we're going to be specifically looking at synthetic division. So the first part of 3.7 was looking at long division, and now we're going to be looking at something called synthetic division. We have this series of 6 steps, so let's go ahead and read through them. To set up the problem, first set the denominator equal to 0, so whatever we're dividing by equal to 0, to find the number to put in the division box. Next, make sure the numerator is written in descending order. And if any terms are missing, you must use a 0 to fill in the missing term. So that's important. Use a 0 to fill in missing term. Finally, list only the coefficients in the division problem. So only the coefficients. Let's look at number 1 and see what these words mean. So first of all, let's look. We have x squared minus 3x minus 10 divided by x plus 2. So this piece is our numerator, and this piece is our denominator. Reading through step 1, first set the denominator equal to 0. So let's do that. X plus 2 equals 0. X equals negative 2. And this is the number we're putting in a division box. So we're going to put it like that. The next sentence in step 1 says, make sure the numerator is written in descending order. Are we written in descending order? We have 2, 1, 0. If any of the terms are missing, you must use a 0. Nothing's missing, so we don't need to use a 0. List only the coefficients in the division problem. Our coefficient here is 1, so we're going to list 1, negative 3, negative 10. And that was step 1. Let's go ahead and read step 2. Once the problem is set up correctly, bring the leading coefficient straight down. The first number, straight down. Okay? Well, here, that means we're going to I'm going to draw a line, and we're going to bring 1 straight down. Step 3. Multiply the number in the division box with the number you brought down and put the result in the next column. So multiply the number in the division box with the number we brought down. So negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. And we're going to put that in the next column. Step 4, look up at step 4. Add the two numbers together and write the result in the bottom row. Adding these together, I get negative 5. Repeat steps 3 and 4 until we reach the end. So 3, number in the box, times the number below. Negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10. Step 4, add these together and I get 0. Step 6 says to write the final answer. The final answer is made up of the numbers in the bottom row, so these numbers, with the last number being the remainder. So 0 is our remainder. The variable of x's start off 1 power less than the original. So the original was a 2. So in our answer, we're going to start with x to the first. And what's the number in front of the x to the first? 1. And then we have minus 5. And then the remainder is 0. So again, I got the x because that's 1 less than x squared. Is x plus 2 a factor? Well, a remainder with 0, that idea stays the same as before. Yes, remainder is 0. Let's go ahead and try number 2. Okay, step 1. Set the denominator equal to 0. Put that number in the box. Are these in descending order? Yes, they are. Am I missing anything? Let's see, I have 3, 2, 1, no x's, so no. So my numbers are going to be 2, -5, 3, and 7. So that was all just step 1, the setup. Now let's go through step 2. Bring the first number down. Step 3, multiply the number in the box by the number we brought down. 2 times 2 is 4. Then we add them. And we do that again. 2 times -1 is -2. Add. 2 times 1 is 2. Add. Now, we did steps 3 and 4 until the end. Step 6 is we write out our answer. My numerator is x to the third. So my answer, I'm going to have an x squared, x, and then something else. What number's in front of x squared? 2. What number's in front of x? -1. What number am I adding at the end? 1. And then I have a remainder of 9, and we put that over our denominator. So this is our remainder over denominator. So is x minus 2 a factor? No. There is a remainder. Let's go ahead and look at example 3. Let's work on setting it up together. Take the denominator, set it equal to 0. That goes in our box. Are we in descending order? This is 4. What should come after 4? 3. Since there's no 3, we have a 0 x to the third there. We have to make sure we put that 0 there. So what numbers do I put? I have a 1 in front of the x to the fourth, a 0 in front of x to the third, -2, 5, -3. I want you to go ahead now and pause the video so that they can do steps 3, 4, and 5. And if you get through 3, 4, and 5, maybe try step 6. Now that you've done steps 3, 4, and 5, you should get 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 0 plus 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Negative 2 plus 4 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 plus 4 is 9. 2 times 9 is 18. I have a remainder of 15. Let's write out our final answer. We have an x to the 4th, so subtract 1. That gives me an x to the 3rd, x squared, x constant. What goes in front of the x third? A 1. Then I have a positive 2, positive 2, positive 9, and then our remainder is 15 over the denominator. For example 4, we're going to use our synthetic division to factor and then sketch the graph. So for this, we know that we need to set our denominator equal to 0. Well, what's our denominator? Well, when I'm factoring, I'm trying to see x minus 4 times something equals 2x to the 3rd plus 3x squared minus 39x minus 20. So what we're doing is we are dividing this polynomial by this. So the x minus 4 is our denominator. So let's set x minus 4 equal to 0. So x equals 4. And I want us to notice that this is our root, or 0, or x-intercept, whichever word you want. We put that in the box. And then we list all of our numbers. Are we in descending order? 3, 2, 1, 0. So I have 2, 3, negative 39, negative 20. I'll go ahead and give you time. Pause the video so that they can try their synthetic division. Now that you've tried it, let's go ahead and check to see if you did it right. Bring down the 2. We multiply these, and I get 8. Then we add, multiply, get 44. Add, multiply, get 20. Add, get 0. And we want a remainder of 0. So what this tells me is 2x to the 3rd plus 3x squared minus 39x minus 20 equals, what was our original factor? X minus 4 times c. We were x to the 3rd, so we're going to have an x squared, x, and a blank. Let's fill the numbers in. 2x squared plus 11x plus 5. So the 2 went here, 11 went here, and 5 went there. Now, notice that it said factor completely. So let's look at this trinomial. Can I keep factoring it? Well, let's see. If I do a 2x, 5x, 1, that gives me a 10x plus x is 11x. So here is my polynomial factored. So we first did synthetic division. Then we kept factoring. Next, we have to sketch the graph. So, find our end behavior, x-intercepts, and y-intercepts. See, we're positive, our leading coefficient's positive, degree is odd, so we're down up. Our x-intercepts are x minus 4 equals 0, so x equals 4. 2x plus 1 equals 0. X equals subtract 1, divide by 2, negative 1/2. And then x plus 5 equals 0. So x equals negative 5. For our y-intercept, we're going to set x equal to 0. So I'm going to use my factored form. 0 minus 4, 2 times 0 plus 1, 0 plus 5. I get negative 4. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1, times 5, I get negative 20. So our y-intercept is 0, 20. Let's go ahead and plot this. Y-intercept at 4, negative 1/2, negative 5, 0. Y-intercept at negative 20, and we're down, up. And that is our graph. So let's go over that one more time. We were given a factor, and so in order to use synthetic division, we needed the root. The root is 4. We did our synthetic division, and then we factored to here. We found our end behavior, x-intercepts, y-intercepts, and then we graphed it. For example 5, we're going to use synthetic division again. Given 1, 0, factor and sketch the polynomial. So note that we're already given the 0. This is our 0. Our 0 is negative 1. Note in the previous example, we used the 0 here. So that's what goes right there. We're going to use the 0. Negative 1. So if we're given the factor, we have to set it equal to 0. But if we're given the 0, that's what goes in this box. Are we in descending order? 3, 2, 1, 0? Yes. So let's go ahead and write them down. 1, 4, negative 15, negative 18. Go ahead and pause the video so that they can do their synthetic division and try it. Now that you've tried it, let's check it. You should have brought down the 1. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. 4 times negative 1 is 3. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. Negative 18. Negative 1 times negative 18, positive 18, and I get 0. So, x to the third plus 4x squared minus 15x minus 18 equals, now since this is a 0, we can add it, and so x plus 1 is the factor. So I have x plus 1 times, power is 3, so my first power is going to be 2, then 1, then the constant. So I have 1x squared plus 3, and then minus 18. Now we need to keep factoring this, so we're going to have x, let's do plus 6 minus 3. And that should work, positive 6x minus 3x. So this is our polynomial in factored form. Now I'm going to go ahead and have the video paused again so that you can graph this polynomial. Find the end behavior, x-intercepts, and y-intercepts. For end behavior, my leading coefficient is positive. The degree is odd, so I'm down up. For x-intercepts, I set each one of these equal to 0. So I have x plus 1 equals 0, which gives me x equals negative 1. So I have an intercept at negative 1, 0. X plus 6 equals 0, so x equals negative 6. So I have an intercept at negative 6, 0. X minus 3 equals 0, so I have an intercept at x equals 3, 0. And lastly, we have our y-intercept. I'm going to plug 0 into my factored form. Y is 0 plus 1 times 0 plus 6 times 0 minus 3. So that gives me 1, 6, negative 3, negative 18. So our intercept is at 0, negative 18. I'm going to go ahead and plot this. Negative 1, negative 6, 3, negative 18. And we're down, up. So I'm going to connect like